And bearing in mind this has been sort of phenomenal success, is there any temptation to sort of, you know, commit further scandals to the public view?
We're working on one with Sarah Phelps, who does all the Agatha Christie's, who's amazing.
A genius.
It's a more feminist scandal about the first woman ever to be publicly slut-shamed. So we're working on that one as well. But you've got to, this one's so good. I mean, it's hard to find. You've got to match it as well. You don't want to do something that's B+. You want to make.
No, you've got to go
A+.
straight for the A, or the 9 as it is in the modern GCSE parlance.
The John Stonehouse story's probably good, isn't it?
That's good, but it's not as good. There's an amazing moment when he goes to the beach.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And no one finds his clothes, and then he tries to fake his death. No one notices, so he tries to do it again.
really?
That's the fun, and that's the spirit of this.
That's good.
But that's
funny.
the moment. That's one off. There we are. We'll do that one as well.
That's good. And are you tempted now, having had this great experience, Stephen, to go back to television more often?
People wrote to me saying, why can't you do more television? And I thought, well, I didn't think the films were that bad, were they? And then I thought, oh no, I see, what they like is that you make films about England. When I made Play for Today and all of that, there were these things called State of the Nation films, plays, whatever you call them. And I thought, oh, this is like that. It covers, you know, it goes to Devon, goes to Wales, does this and that. It's about the whole country. And that's rather interesting. And I can see that, you know, in 10 years' time, someone will make a great film about this complete cock-up that's going on. But not for 10 years. That's how long it took before Peter wrote The Deal and The Queen. So in 10 years' time, book in for the Brexit film, because...
Although Jeremy Thorpe was a fervent European, wasn't he? He was
He was a fervent European, yes. Well, when you were talking about the Great White Shark, I thought, well, that's a description of Boris.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting for the 3-part drama series about Boris, though. I'm going to steer clear, maybe.
Well, come on, it is the most extraordinary story going on.
Are you tempted by that, Dominic? Are you going to 3-parter on Bojo?
No, 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah, because there's stuff going on we don't know about. There's a lot we don't know about, and in 10 years' time we'll get the true story.
And if you could end in his death, that would be great. I like that one.
Okay.
But I predict, I'm going to make a very interesting point, one of many, that it will be much harder to make dramas or films, television about, for instance, Brexit, things that happen now, because so much of what happens in this Brexit scandal happens online, it happens on social media, it happens on the internet, and no one's really cracked how to make that filmy or even televisual.
Yeah.
You know, what do? Keep cutting to a little screen? I've never seen anyone crack that. And I think it's one of the reasons why, again and again, people respond well to films, television things made in the pre-internet age. Even pre-cell phones, pretty good. There's something even a bit dreary about, you know, you can solve, you're a screenwriter, any problem about he picks up his phone and calls her, and it all goes a bit, just vaguely, fractionally dead.
Yes.
Anyway, perhaps it wasn't so interesting.
What is your next venture, Hugh? Can you say what your next role is going to be?
Well, I don't know.
You're obviously looking forward to it, which is the main thing.
I've always hated my job, and I'm just, what I like to do is to toy with various projects and producers like a cat with a half-dead mouse. And just bring them in and then bat them around the floor a bit and then throw them out again. And I'm doing that with several projects at the moment.
Well, don't wait for me, dear. I'm unemployed.
Well,
Stephen needs a job.
Oh, Stephen, well, surely this will be your third collaboration in the offing.
No, I'm unemployed.
There's not a lot of enthusiasm for that collaboration.
Bond. James Bond.
Yeah, come on, Stephen.
Come on, Stephen.
Would you do it, Stephen? Would you do
Time has
James
come.
Bond? Come on.
The time's come.
I think so.
Come on. Start a rumor.
I once wanted to have a debate with Danny Boyle, when he was asked to do the film about Steve Jobs. I saw it. I knew nothing about Steve Jobs, and I came out knowing even less. And I wanted to have a debate in which I said to him, why did you not say to the producers, are you out of your fucking minds? And he thought that was rather a good idea. So actually, I'm full of admiration for Danny because he worked it out. He clearly, I mean, he could actually see the bullet speeding towards him. So I think they all dodge speeding bullets.
So I take it from that you won't be helming
No,
the next.
and-
Oh, you are available. I would so love to see that happen now. We talked obviously about casting, and we focused naturally on you, Hugh. But you said you got your first choice is Ben Whishaw. It would feel remiss not to talk about Ben's performance. What I loved about it, there was a relish to it that obviously fitted the piece, but it felt quite old school camp without being mocking or grotesque, if you know what I mean. Does that seem sort of fair to you, Russell?
It was brilliant. It was very clever and very precise. He met Norman as well, but again didn't do an impersonation of him, just kind of got a bit of the essence of him. And it changes over the years as well. It's very clever.
Yeah.
It's actually Norman from the 60s. It's the most important 20 years of your life, really. From 30 to 50, where you become yourself. And it's much gayer and more openly flamboyant in the 70s towards the end. Very clever. He's what a lovely man. Gorgeous. Sadly, he didn't want to go out with me. What's the point?
And then he met Norman once, didn't he? It was only one meeting, but uncannily, he picked up some of his mannerisms and sort of met.
Yeah, they're very florid, his hand gestures.
Yeah. We had Hugh, Ben, and Alex Jennings. Before we got a casting director, actually, we had those three in place. They were there, ready. And then Patricia Hodge banging on the door.
God, that is what a triumvirate.
And Monica Dolan as well.
Monica Dolan.
Everyone was impeccable. I'm just looking at the screen, just for some audience questions. I can see the clock ticking down. As Ben's not here to defend himself, can you tell us the funniest anecdote about him on set? I mean, let's face it, it doesn't even have to be real at this juncture. Just make up. He's not around to...
I'd actually never seen Ben act because I don't watch television, so that's why I'm unemployed.
But he is in Bond.
But I haven't seen Bond.
You're not going to get that job now.
You've never seen a Bond film?
No, I've seen Sean Connery.
You are right up to speed, my friend.
I think Ben had probably mentioned the dogs. We went through.
But
Yes.
I then saw Ben in a play at the Almeida, and I thought I'd better find out about this chap. So I went to see him in this play, which wasn't brilliant, and he was playing a very. Am I getting deeper and deeper? Should I stop? He was playing a very stiff American. And I thought, my God, you've got 3 days between finishing this play and starting with us. So what do? I then thought, I'll invite him to lunch with Norman. So Norman came up to London, which I think was the first time he'd done that for 40 years or something. And Ben sat there, and Norman started to talk, and Ben's eyes were out on stalks. And I just said, well, that's who you're playing, and I'll see you at the premiere. His eyes were out on stalks.
You're very hands-on, Stephen, I'll give you that.
And Ben, incredibly, I mean, he'd come from a play, he come straight to us from, what was tough with Ben is getting him prepped for the role, because unlike Hugh, he didn't have any availability sort of running up to it, so all the makeup tests and all of that, they fitted in the evenings around his plays.
And then a Great Dane that he had to wrangle through over 50% of his scenes.
5 of them. I mean, we went through 4 or 5, 4.
4 different Great Danes?
Yes. Then someone said to me, Great Danes are famously stupid.
And if they don't want to go somewhere, famously quite heavy to drag.
Yes, and then they would say, they don't like the dark, or they don't like the rain.
So they're not that stupid. they're wiser than we are.
But I think the most memorable difficulty was the fact we had the scene where Norman's walking his Great Dane for the first time, and he bumps into Michelle Treacy's character with her Great Dane, and the animal handler turned up. They'd had this brief for quite some time, but I guess you can't really second guess what the dogs are going to do. But the dogs had attacked each other that morning, so we had to do the scene with the 2 Great Danes. It was a sort of split screen thing, wasn't it? They couldn't appear together. Yeah, they couldn't look at it. It was. But
So
the
they
master,
had an artistic tantrum,
they,
whereas the rest of the cast was quite
the
biddable.
one went for the other one.
It was in their contracts.
It was in their contracts.